The heads of Sony said, "Hey Jim, where's Stellar Blade?" He said, "I don't know." They said, "No Stellar Blade, no stellar job." This is Games Point Blank, and we're back with some interesting news coming out of the Sony camp. PlayStation CEO Jim Ryan has announced his retirement. He's due to step down from the company in March 2024. Does this mean there's trouble for PlayStation's future? We're gonna talk about it. We got the Don, we got the Crowd Pleaser, and we got me, Desert Eagle. All right, so Jim Crying Ryan says he's retiring. This news came out of the blue. It's very, very suspicious why this all of a sudden came out, seemingly at the same time as Xbox is just starting to rise. We got some theories about why he's retiring. He officially said that is, 30 years in the game is enough. It's very hard to work in North America but live in Europe. I don't know if we all buy that, do we? Let's talk about it. What are your thoughts?
I'm going to put a disclaimer right now. All I'm talking about is conspiracy theories with no factual data at all. And I don't give a who the hell tells me otherwise. Conspiracy theory number one. Jim Ryan bet his whole career on closing the Activision Microsoft deal down. He said, if I can't close this down with my boys from the UK helping me, I quit. I'm not coming back. And then the Sony heads up, we're like, all right, boy, you all right? You got this? You think you're going to get this for them? If you get this, you will be a star. If you ruin this for us, it's over. You never working in this town again. And lo and behold, a week prior to the closing, the CMA started approving stuff. Oh, right after that, Jim Crying Ryan. Oh, it's time for me to leave to the sunset. You know who else left to the sunset earlier this year? I'm going to leave it at that. Go ahead.
His main excuse is that he lives in Europe, in England, and he commutes to the United States for work. You got promoted to a CEO, making millions of dollars a year probably on bonuses and your salary. You couldn't move? Like, nah, I'm gonna hop on this plane, live in a hotel every 2 weeks, then go to another plane, go to Japan for 1 week, then go back to England to be home for 1 week to do it all again for 4 years straight. Bro, you making millions of dollars. You couldn't rent an apartment in the United States. You couldn't buy a house in California. I'm not buying it.
He could have easily bought a house. All these rich people. Like you said, he's a CEO of the most successful video game company in the streets. He could have bought a house. He could have bought 2 houses, 3 houses. He could have been balling out of control. Have a house that you fly to every 500 miles. It don't matter. And then he chose not to do it. Sony couldn't give him an apartment in Japan? Really? I don't buy it.
Why would Sony have their headquarters in California and make this man travel to Japan once a month? Nah, man. Fired.
There was no reason for Jim Ryan to be traveling post-COVID to anywhere, wasting money, unnecessary funds, when he can easily do all of that conversation over video conferencing. This is an excuse, full-blown excuse. The man put his life on the line with Sony. And guess what? PlayStation had an amazing run, but Xbox is coming. They're coming strong. Ever since that crap Sony showcase earlier this year, it has been going downhill since. And Sony is looking real bad right now. And I blame Jim Ryan. All he's been doing was calling the CMA every day, hoping to God that the CMA was going to save him from this ass whooping that he's been getting. And nothing has changed. Nothing has changed for months. And finally, now that it's closing this deal, They said, get the hell out of here. We haven't done anything about games all year just because you've been obsessing over Microsoft and the CMA trying to stop it. And they can't even do that anymore.
So Jim Ryan put all his bets on the CMA, and then it started looking shaky. He said, hold on, I got another UK connection. The head of the FTC in the US, Lena Khan. Where's she from? The UK. So he put all his cards on the table. He said, listen, we're gonna shut down, we're gonna finish Xbox. Once they don't close this deal with Activision, once we block it, which the whole world knows this is the only thing I want, I'm putting everything on it. I'm putting my name, my reputation, my job on the line. And it failed. They told him, hey, there's two ways out of here. Either we fire you or you retire and hold your head up high. He said, I'm retiring. Anybody else have any other theories of why this happened? I have another wild theory.
I'm going to offer up the proof that this happened. Whenever a CEO steps down or retires, they always name a successor. Look at what happened with Reggie, president of Nintendo of America. When it just out of nowhere, like 6 months to a year before he retired, you start seeing Doug Bowser in all the Nintendo Directs. He's like, oh, this is our new guy, Doug Bowser. And he's like, hi, everyone, I'm Bowser. They made all cute and everything. Reggie retires. Next day, Doug Bowser's the president. That's not what's happening here. They have an interim CEO, Hiroki Totoki. The interim CEO coming from the board of directors. It's like, they got somebody from the board of directors replacing this guy. Not even a PlayStation guy. The Sony Corporation board of directors. The last time we saw an interim CEO was when Iwata died, who was the CEO of Nintendo. He died of cancer in 2015. And that was very sudden, came out of nowhere. And they put an interim CEO who was a board of directors guy from Nintendo. And he was the CEO for 2 years, the interim CEO. This dude blatantly got pushed out based off of that.
All right. We know that Jim Ryan, one of his strengths was making these deals with third-party companies. Specifically, don't put your games on Xbox if you want the games on PlayStation. They had the Xbox exclusion deal. Not exclusives, exclusion. Jim Ryan made this deal with one of the biggest Japanese companies we all know, Square Enix. They decided to exclude Final Fantasy VII from Xbox. All future Final Fantasy games going forward, apparently, the mainline games like 16. And what has happened? Square Enix is now $2 billion in the hole. They're in debt like crazy. They're dying. Who do they blame? Of course, PlayStation, because if they were on Xbox, they could have been making bread, free money. And what happened? They probably went to the Sony board of directors. They said, you paying this money? $2 billion? Is your boy Jim Ryan's fault? Is he gonna pay? Get rid of the guy. And you know what happened? He announced his retirement.
Allegedly, they have him as the interim CEO while they search for another candidate. Like you said, even though he's retiring officially in March, they needed this time to get someone else. What is that, 6 months right now? Just to find a replacement? And why did they announce it so soon? Why 6 months before he's leaving? Because once again, it was hot water all in and out of Sony. The last year has been a crap show. All of the last PlayStation showcases have been mediocre at best, and it wasn't looking good. Let's go all the way back to 2019, when he first became the CEO and president. Things were looking bright. They were at the end of the PlayStation 4 generation, building up to that PlayStation 5, which ended up dominating the first half of this generation. All signs were pointing to Jim Ryan doing exactly what Sony has been doing for a long time. You're telling me one of the most successful console launches, one of the most successful consoles in the time frame it's been out, period, through a global pandemic, still selling ridiculous numbers, and you're going to retire in the middle of this console generation on top? No one retires on top. No one retires in the middle of their reign. If you were really gonna retire and say, hey, guys, I'm riding into the sunset, you do it at the end of the generation you won, that you completely dominated. You came into this position right before the PlayStation 5 launched. You're not even gonna see it through halfway into the generation, and you want me to believe that this was a mutual decision? You want me to believe that you purposely left the company at its peak?
Let's not forget the PSVR 2 bomb from earlier this year. These underwhelming showcases after 2 years of waiting and anticipation, you come with trash.
These underwhelming or underselling, or I should even say underperforming third-party exclusives, where now the third parties are like, why did we put it exclusively on this console? It's not selling what it should be selling. We should have released it everywhere so we could recoup our money. There's a lot of negatives happening right now this year. Where are all the exclusives in the second half of this year? Spider-Man is supposed to hold the fort down for the whole next 6 months. Like, what's happening? Where's Naughty Dog? We haven't seen them in ages. You're gonna tell me The Last of Us 2 remaster is gonna save the day?
With factions included, guaranteed.
Things were looking so bright 6 months ago. Redfall had just come out from Microsoft, and everyone was like, whoa, these dudes are just releasing stinker after stinker. How times change 6 months later. What's coming after Spider-Man? Does anyone know any hits coming after Spider-Man? They're holding on to games that haven't released, whether or not they want to, whether or not the game is good or bad. Who knows at this point? I have no idea what to expect for this company in 2024. Do you guys?
You got Helldivers 2 coming in January, baby. Games as a service. 40 cash. But you know what they did to make up the extra money? They doubled the price of PS Plus. So in order to play this $40 game online, you got to spend $80 a year. Oh yeah, that's real good. Good looking, Jim Ryan. Fire.
Speaking of wasting money on PSVR, that's not the only thing he's been blowing cash on. Remember, they bought Bungie, and then all Bungie did was come in and look at their games that they're making and said, this is garbage. What are y'all doing? They went to the Sony board of directors and said, this is your man's? What if he doesn't know what he's doing? We got no games on the horizon. You bought us to help you out. All you're making is crap going forward. What do you got? Like Pleasa said, they got Spider-Man. Wolverine coming out what? 2025, 2026? Who knows? PS5, PS6 maybe? Because they never launched what system? They never said a year.
Now PS5 Pro, that's coming on PS5 Pro. The
PS5 Pro, okay, another swindle that Jim Ryan put all his money on. We got the PS5. We want you to buy VR2. We want you to buy the new PSP that you think you're gonna be able to play on the train, but you can't. Then we want you to buy the PS5 Slim. Oh, hold on, my fault. We want you to buy the Spider-Man 2 edition for that sweet new black box. Then we want you to buy PS5 Slim. Then we're gonna hit you with the PS5 Pro. We're expecting y'all to spend $2,000 to $3,000, and you're not. Guess what? I'm retiring.
Where the hell is Stellar Blade? This game was announced and shown so long ago. Now crickets for the last year. I'm telling you right now, when I first saw this game, I was like, it looks good. But the fact that they haven't shown anything in months is really shaky. I've been calling it. I'm like, yo, something's wrong with this game. The devs aren't established. Something is happening. And I'm telling you right now, the game was probably crap. And they were like, we can't release it in this state. We can't get 6s on exclusives. We're not doing it. They just put it back on the shelf and said, you got to cook for a little bit longer. That game should have been out. Allegedly, it was complete. If you hear all the leaks from the news reporters, it was all complete. It just hasn't had a release date. Why? Because the game is crap. You guys haven't had any other games. Why are you not dropping the crack games that are supposedly you're holding on? Because it may not be good. You might have another Redfall situation where your exclusive is garbage and then you're just going to take another L, especially in the last 6 months where you guys haven't been doing good anyway, at least in the public perception. Sales-wise is different, sure. But where are the games? I can't believe I'm saying this about Sony. We were saying this about Xbox not even a year ago. Where are the games. So what do you guys feel about the news that Jim Ryan is retiring in March and we have an interim board member president taking over while they find a replacement? Do you believe that this is a legit retirement and he's riding off into the sunset while he still can? Or do you guys think that this is all a hoax and your man got the pink slip and said, you got two options, get the hell out or we're gonna fire you? Let us know in the comments. We look forward to hearing from you. And until next time, let's game on.
If you liked our content, mash that like button. And if you're new to the channel and want to see more content, hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching.